Okay.
Alrighty. Hi, everyone, and welcome to tonight's presentation. I'm happy to see so many familiar faces and new ones as well. Tonight, we are joined by Hillary Schwab as she brings us another live action cooking demonstration based on her wonderful blog, Edible Garden Girl. Tonight will be everything eggplant from garden to table. Please remain muted during the presentation, and as always, there will be an opportunity at the end to unmute for Q&A. If you enjoyed tonight's program, please make sure to check out our website and register to join us again next week. Without further ado, Hillary, take it away.
Thank you, Dottie. Hello, Poolsville seniors. As most of you already know, I'm Hillary Schwab, the Edible Garden Girl. Thank you for inviting me back to talk to you about another amazing vegetable, the eggplant. Tonight, I'm going to be demonstrating to you how to make baba ganoush and a grilled eggplant dish with pesto. So they're both made from eggplant. So first, let me tell you about eggplant. An eggplant is technically a fruit. So a fruit is classified as something that grows from a flower. But given its flavor and texture, it is used in cooking as a vegetable. So all of you probably know about the common eggplant. So this is the common eggplant. This is the Globe American eggplant. You can find it in any grocery store. And it used to be that this was the only eggplant that you could find anywhere in a grocery store. But now, today, there are other varieties that are available at the grocery store, and at the gourmet grocery stores, you can find lots and lots of different varieties. So I'm going to tell you about 3 different varieties of eggplant and the different things that you can make with them, and then we're going to do some cooking. So first, we're going to talk about, this is the Globe or American eggplant. This type of eggplant is a common one, so you obviously you all know about it, and it's used for all different kinds of dishes that you can make with eggplant. It's best for slicing and frying an eggplant parmesan. I heard there's a lot of fans of eggplant parmesan out there, and it's also good for grilling and for pureeing or mashing, like we're going to do with the baba ganoush that I'm going to show you later. It has a very smooth, dark skin, and it has seeds inside. So you want to try, when you buy an eggplant, try not to buy a super big one, because the super big ones have a lot of seeds in them and sometimes they're bitter. So the next category are Asian eggplants. I have two different kinds here. I have the Chinese eggplant, which normally has a lighter purple color. For some reason, it's not showing up that well on the screen, but it's long and thin. It has a very thin skin, and it has no seeds or very few seeds, as well as the Japanese eggplant, which has also a smooth, very thin skin and very few seeds. These are great for sauteing. You see them a lot in Asian dishes. They cut them up, you don't need to peel them, and they just saute up really nice. And the last group I want to talk about are the kind of globe eggplants that are smaller than the American eggplant. And I have a bunch of different interesting varieties here. There's a white eggplant, and these are called Graffiti Eggplant. They're white and purple. And I've also seen them with kind of stripes. There's all different kinds of varieties. And these are great for grilling because you can slice them up nicely and put them on the grill. They're also good for sauteing, and they're great for pureeing because they don't have as many seeds as the Globe American eggplant, and they have very thin skin, so they're also, you know, very easy to eat for grilling. So those are the 3 different types of eggplant that I wanted to show you. Let me just get this out of the way. And now, for a special treat, I have brought with me, brought it in from my deck. You see me? There it is. These are 2 eggplant plants. They are the small globe variety. They have some flowers on them. I don't know if you can see the flowers on the plant. So as most of you probably already know, you should start growing eggplant in the spring, early May, just like when you plant other things in your garden. I suggest that next spring in your garden, you plant a couple of different varieties of eggplants so you can have them available in your kitchen to try some different new recipes. You can also obviously plant them in pots, which is what I have right here. And I'm going to bring these in and see if they still live in the house, but I've never done that before. So I can't guarantee you if you put it in a pot, if it'll live through the winter, but at least you get to, the great thing about growing in a pot is that you can put it in the sun where you want it. And you need to get that, like 8 hours of sun a day. So I did not have very good success this year in my garden with my eggplant plants. And it was mainly because I do organic gardening and there were 2 major pests. So I'm just gonna give you a little heads up so that maybe if you've had these problems in your garden or you have them in the future, that you'll know what to do. So if you look, I'm hoping you can see this leaf here. I'm going to turn it so you can see there's lots of little holes. Does everybody see these little tiny holes in the leaf? So there's these things are called flea beetles. There's these tiny little black bugs, and they eat these little holes in the leaves of the plants. And if you just have a few of them, it's not that big a deal. It's not going to do anything to your plant. But if you have a lot of them and you see a lot of leaves that look like they have lace, that means the flea beetles are eating your leaves, and eventually they'll kill off enough of the leaves that your plant will die. So you want to try to get rid of them. I just kind of pick mine up and put them in soapy water. You can dust them with diatomaceous earth. There's different things you can do to try to get rid of them. The other pest is, and I have lots of visual aids this time, so I hope you guys can see this. This is a tobacco worm. They're about 2 inches long. They have these green bodies that blend in right with the leaves. And you won't really notice that they're there. What you'll notice is there's entire leaves missing from your plants. They don't just eat eggplant. They also eat pepper plants. They'll eat tomato plants. And they will defoliate your plant in the matter of days. So if you start seeing there's a whole leaves missing and just empty stems, you got to look for this guy because they hide. Even though they're really big, they hide. And when you find them, remove them from your garden or you will have no garden left. So those are my tips for growing eggplant. And as far, I was going to do a brief little thing on nutrition. Eggplant is a nutrient-dense food, and it contains a lot of vitamins and antioxidants. And it's also very high in fiber and low in calories. So it's a great food to eat if you're watching your weight or you just want to be healthy. All right, so let's get cooking. So the first thing we're going to make is baba ganoush. So the history of baba ganoush is that it's a Middle Eastern dish, and it comes from several different Arabic countries. All these different countries kind of lay claim to being the origination of baba ganoush, but the one that I'm going to make is more of like a Lebanese version. So basically, baba ganoush is an eggplant mash or a puree. I'm going to mash mine, that is eaten as an appetizer with fresh veggies and pita bread. So that the ingredients that you're going to need to make baba ganoush are, where are they, baba ganoush? Oh, they're there. Sorry about that. You're going to need a large eggplant. Oh, I got rid of my eggplant. I was like, where is the eggplant? Okay, we've got an eggplant. You're going to need an eggplant, some fresh garlic that's been pressed. I have some garlic here. The other thing I wanted to talk about is growing your own garlic. Last year, for the first time, I grew my own garlic, and it is so easy to do. What you do is you buy the starter cloves and you plant them in the fall right about now, so within the next few weeks, and you literally don't have to do anything else with them until the spring. In the spring, in the winter, the greens kind of die off, and then in the spring, the shoots start coming up again. You get these, what are they called again? Oh, garlic. Oh. Tell me what it is.
Scapes.
Yes, thank you. The garlic scapes that come up, and you can cut those off and eat those while you're waiting for your garlic cloves to grow underground. And when the greens start dying off, it's time you can harvest your garlic. And I hope you guys can see here, but this is just a little bit. I got like a whole basket full of garlic, and it's really, really good because it's not as harsh as the garlic that you get in the grocery store. And it's super easy to do. Okay, so moving on from the garlic, the other ingredients, we need fresh lemon juice. We need tahini, which is a sesame paste, olive oil, some flat leaf parsley, salt, cumin, and smoked paprika. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to roast, we're going to cut the eggplant. Make some room here. It's always a challenge in my small kitchen, guys. Sorry. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do, helper person, can you put this somewhere out of the? Yeah, thank you. Okay. So you're going to take your eggplant and you're going to cut it in half. Lengthwise, just like that. It's 2 halves. And then there are a lot of dishes here. Okay. And then I'm going to brush the halves with olive oil. Oh, I forgot to mention that you need to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. So I've already done that. I'm going to take my eggplant. I'm going to put the brush sides down on my baking sheet like that. And then I'm going to put it in the oven and I'm going to bake it at 400 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes. So I happen to have some eggplant that's already been baked. So when they're baked, the eggplants collapse on themselves, and let's see, and the flesh becomes very nice and soft. So now I'm going to take my bowl. So eggplants have a lot of moisture in them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop the eggplant. No, you can't see an eggplant, can you? All right, let me get a little closer here. Okay, so I'm going to scoop the eggplant out of the skins and into the strainer so that the liquid from the eggplant can strain through. So I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing here. We've got the eggplant. So it comes, once it's, nicely baked, it comes easily out of the skins. So here's the other side. And we're going to scoop that into the bowl here. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to press on it just a little bit so that if you can see that, I'm going to try to get the liquid out from the eggplant. Oh, and by the way, I let the eggplant cool. You don't want to do it while the eggplant's hot. Okay. So now I'm just going to get rid of the liquid that I've drained out in the sink. And I'm going to put my eggplant in the bowl. Okay. The next thing that we need to do is we need to mash the eggplant. So I'm going to take a masher and I'm going to mash the eggplant. So some people will puree their eggplant for this dish. but I like it to have a meatier texture. I've been to restaurants where they make baba ganoush and it basically looks like it's hummus. And I feel like baba ganoush should have more of a texture to it. Makes it more of a hearty kind of. Okay, so I'll show you here. This is the mashed up eggplant. So now I'm going to add all my ingredients to it. I can figure out what I did with them. What did I do with them? Oh, they're over there. How did that happen? Oops. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to add my 2 cloves of pressed garlic. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice that is freshly squeezed. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of tahini. There we go. And then I'm going to add some fresh parsley that I'm going to chop up. By the way, the parsley is also from my garden. Very easy to grow parsley. It's very prolific, doesn't require a lot of work. And you can just walk outside your door and get some fresh parsley. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley. Chop it up. A few more. Okay. It's okay to chop up some of the stem in there. You just don't want to get too much stem. Okay. All right, so I got 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley. I'm going to add a little salt. So I'm going to add 3/4 teaspoon of salt. There we go. Get some salt in there. Add some cumin. Add 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. There we go. And then you're just going to mix it all up in a bowl. So I think I forgot to add my olive oil. Yes, it's sitting right here. Okay, we're going to add 1/4 cup of olive oil. And you just mix it up real good. I would let it sit for about an hour before you serve it so that the flavors can melt together. Just let it sit for a second while we get this stuff out of here. Okay. And see if you guys can see what it looks like. And then right before serving, you're gonna drizzle it on top with a little bit of olive oil. And then you're gonna sprinkle it with smoked paprika. And the smoked paprika really gives it an earthy kind of grilled kind of flavor. It makes it very meaty. I got my smoked paprika when I was in Spain a couple of years ago, but you can get it here. So then you just kind of sprinkle it on top. And you can serve it with fresh pita or, so I just want you guys to see, here it is. You can serve it with, I've got some fresh pita here, some fresh veggies, and you can just dip them in this, and it's a wonderful appetizer before a meal. Or you can have it as your main meal. But here you go. So move that out of the way. That was the first dish that I wanted to show you. The next dish that I want to show you is grilled eggplant with the pesto sauce. So this is like one of the easiest meals to prepare. Doesn't require a lot of chopping. Just gonna get my fresh parsley out of there. All right. Okay, so for the grilled eggplant. So this is an American globe eggplant. You can use any of the other globe eggplants that I showed you, but this is the one that I'm going to work with tonight. So clean off my knife here. The key to making really good grilled eggplant is to slice the eggplant nice and thinly and evenly. Because if you don't do it evenly, then it doesn't cook evenly on the grill. So I cut off, we were talking earlier about how some people like to leave the head of the stem of the eggplant on, but I prefer to cut it off because you can't eat it, so you might as well just get rid of it. Okay, so first you're going to cut off a little bit of the edge with the skin, because this is piece you're not going to use too much skin. So the skin of this eggplant is a little bit tough, but if you slice it nice and thin, it's very easy to eat. So I'm going to show you now what I'm going to do to slice my eggplant nice and thin. So make sure you have a nice sharp knife and you cut down evenly and you get a nice thin slice. And then you just continue to do a nice thin slice all the way down. Do another one to show you, and another one. So you just want to make them thin, even, and consistent. If it's not consistent, trust me, you're going to burn one side and the other side's going to be kind of rubbery. Okay, so now once you've done that, now that I did that, before you put it on the grill, you have to prepare it. So to prepare it, super easy. I don't know, tonight I seem to be having a problem finding my things. I use my brushing olive oil in my baba ganoush. So we're just going to switch. It's all the same olive oil. Okay, so I'm going to brush my eggplant with olive oil. You don't want to douse it, because the problem with, frying the eggplant is that it's like a sponge. It absorbs so much oil. So I'm just going to lightly brush it with the olive oil on one side. Then I'm going to sprinkle it with salt and pepper. And salt and some pepper. And then I'm going to turn them over. And I'm going to brush these sides with olive oil. And there we go. Sprinkle it with salt and pepper. So then you take your grill and you make it nice and hot. And it doesn't take very long to cook these very thin slices, like 3 to 5 minutes on each side. If you walk away from your grill, you're going to burn your eggplant. So you really have to watch it to make sure that you get perfectly cooked. I grilled my eggplant before you guys came on. So here is what it looks like to have perfectly grilled eggplant. You can see that I, in a few spots, did not cut my eggplant perfectly even, so you get a little bit of these burn spots, but it's okay to have a little bit. But you just want to get, this nice caramelized grill marks on your eggplant. So now, one of the things that I love to serve with this is my vegan pesto sauce. that recipe is on my blog. And I'm going to show you how to make that now. So let's see what I need for pesto. Okay. We're going to need the food processor for. Okay. So here's the food processor. Let's open it up. So to make pesto, all you need to do is get all your ingredients prepped, and then you're going to put them into the food processor, grind them up, and then you're ready to go. First, you're going to grind up your basil. I have 3 cups of basil here. Now, I left the stem on this one to show you. You don't want to grind up the stem. You only want to use the leaves. If you get some thin stems in there like this is fine. But this thick stem like this, you do not want to eat this. So you do not want to grind that up in your blender. Okay. So now I'm going to add my basil. Get this in here. Put the basil. And there we go. It's all in there. Basil in there. And the thing that I like to do to try to let it, when you grind up the basil, it loses its bright green color and it gets kind of brownish. So this doesn't always work, but I like to sprinkle it with a little bit of lemon juice, and that sometimes keeps that nice bright color in your pesto. So turn this baby on. Okay. We sort of got it ground up there. We got a few pieces sitting on top. Okay. The next step is I'm going to add garlic, pine nuts, and cashew nuts. So 1 clove of garlic, and this is 3 tablespoons of cashews. They're unsalted, and I've soaked them in water. So I make my pesto vegan. I have vegans that frequent my house, so I try to make it so that I have food that my daughter can eat. So I've already soaked these cashews in water, and when you grind them up, they have a creaminess that's very similar to cheese. So I'm going to add them to my blender. Then I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of pine nuts. I love pine nuts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I'm going to put that back on. You can see that it's starting to become a paste. The last thing I need to add is the salt and the olive oil. So I'm going to add half a teaspoon of salt. There we go. It seems like a lot, but when you put the pesto on things, it mellows it down. And then I'm going to add 5 tablespoons or 1/4 cup of olive oil. Okay. Blend it up. Done here. Almost ready. Just gonna scrape down the sides. My pesto is looking a little thick, so I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil. So sometimes you have to adjust based on how your recipe is going. Okay. Looking good. All right, so I'll show you guys the pesto. It's still a tiny bit thick, but I tend to like my pesto a little bit on the thick side. Some people like theirs runny. I like mine to have a little bit of texture. Some people like to have theirs super, super creamy. So it's really a matter of, you know, what you like. And then I serve the pesto on the side with the eggplant, the grilled eggplant, and then you can just put a little bit of pesto on top of your eggplant and cut it up and eat it. Except for you can't see the eggplant, can you? Oh, there's the eggplant. All right. So just to recap, today I have showed you how to make a ganoush that you can serve with pita chips and veggies. And I've also shown you how to make pesto and grilled eggplant. Thank you for watching my demonstration today. You can find these recipes on my blog. Well, actually, you can find the pesto recipe on the blog. The baba ganoush recipe hasn't made it up yet. If you haven't yet subscribed, if you subscribe to my blog, then you will get an email when that recipe is up. I post about once a week. And there's plenty of other great recipes on the site. This is getting blocked. And you can also like my Facebook page if you want to get notifications about other recipes that I'm making and other vegetables that I'm growing, and tips for things that you can grow. So thank you, Poolsville seniors, for asking me to present. And I hope you all learned at least one new thing tonight. And I'd be happy to take your questions.
Feel free to either put your questions in the chat or unmute and ask them.
So Hillary,
There's like a thing on the screen.
Hillary,
Yes.
you were saying earlier about how absorbent eggplant is, so with olive oil, and to avoid absorbing too much olive oil, especially like in dishes like eggplant parmesan. Do you have any tips for what people can do?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, I mean, it's just like, you know, making French fries, you know, rather than, you know, sauteing it in oil, you can bake it. You know, like you could bread your eggplant and then put like a cooking spray on it or brush it. Well, you can't really brush it when it's breaded, but, you know, put a little cooking spray on it and bake it in the oven.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have several questions. So could you prepare, not what you're showing tonight, but talking about the eggplant parmesan, could you prepare that in an air fryer to cut down on, do you have any experience with an air fryer? Yeah,
I don't, but I mean, what you could do is either air fry or grill the eggplant like I did and then assemble it.
oh,
You know,
good
for
idea.
That's
That's a good idea.
Parmesan. You could
Yeah.
also, you know, if it's wintertime or you don't want to deal with the grill, you can broil the eggplant. So it's just like on the grill, you have to turn it.
Yeah, or on a grill pan on your stove.
Yeah,
That's a good idea. That's, yeah, rather than having it fried or something like
yeah,
that.
because people think when they're ordering eggplant parmesan at a restaurant, oh, I'm ordering a vegetable, I'm eating healthy.
No.
Well, eggplant parmesan is not healthy.
Yeah,
because
they fry it, but they fry it in restaurants. So we're just looking for just a cleaner way.
to do
But
it
I
at
think-
home, yeah,
But
yeah.
I think the grill and adding your sauce and cheese probably will be even better.
Yeah, I mean, there won't be any breading, but
Yeah, but we don't need
well,
that.
when I was in Italy like 3 years ago, we went to an Italian, a real Italian's home, and he made us eggplant parmesan, and he cut it very thin like we did, and he just layered it with no breading, and he didn't fry it either. He just layered it raw, and then he put the sauce, and then he baked it, and it was delicious.
So how long would you have to cook that?
Probably, at 350 for at least half an hour.
All assembled?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a couple more questions. I don't want to dominate, but I've made my list.
Sure.
So starter cloves for garlic are what? So if you buy a clove, is it a piece of that you put in the ground, or where do you get that?
So I order mine from Burpee,
Okay,
the seed company. I just ordered mine this morning, actually. I got where's the garlic? The Spanish Roja variety is what I got. There's soft neck and there's hard neck. So these are hard neck variety.
and you plant that whole thing?
No, so when you order it, you get a clove and you break the cloves apart and then you plant them in the ground.
Okay,
And you might be able to do it from just something you bought from the store, but the big problem with using things that you get from the store is they're treated with chemicals.
right.
They're treated so that they won't grow. They're
Okay.
so they're not, like, they tell you can't grow potatoes from potatoes that you get from the store, but I've done it. So if you want the best chance of success, you get the starter cloves. So you put them in October, you'll start seeing the shoots come up in a couple of weeks. They'll come up out of the ground. And then all winter long, they'll be there while there's snow on the ground or whatever. And you just let it sit there. And you literally don't have to do anything. And then in the spring, new shoots, new sprouts will start coming up. And like I said, I think it was June that I harvested them.
Can you use those shoots? It's kind of like a grass that comes up, right?
Yeah, so no, but the garlic scapes. So if you go to my blog, there's a post about garlic scapes. If you search for that,
Okay.
they come up and they kind of like have a curly Q, and then they have a little flower, and you can eat that whole piece, garlic scape, and it tastes like a very mild garlic. It's a very interesting taste. And it's like, you can get it at like farmers markets for like a 2-week period. So they only flower for a very short period of time. But the garlic, the bulbs still aren't ready. You have to wait until the leaves, the shoots start dying off. And that's when the bulbs are ready to be harvested. I mean, sometimes I wasn't really sure, and I was really curious because I'm like, oh, I don't know if there's anything happening under there. So I pulled one up and I was like, oh, look, it's not that big. So you can see there's like different sizes.
Oh, yeah.
This one went full term. This one was a preemie.
Right. Okay, I have 2 more questions and then I'll stop. How long do you soak the cashews?
I would say for like maybe 20-30 minutes.
Okay. And they're just raw cashews that you use. Okay. And then why have pine nuts become so expensive?
Uh,
They have like doubled in price over the last 5, 7, 8 years. I've noticed.
um,
Do you have any idea?
I think because they're imported and I think they have to be picked by hand. Like, I don't think machines can pick them. But I'm not exactly sure, but yes, they're ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, but they've gone way, way up. It used to be you could get them in restaurants on a salad, or you could buy them, and now the price is just exorbitant, and the places that used to have it on salads have replaced it with other kind of seeds. Yeah.
Yeah, so what I do is I buy it in bulk, because if you buy like one of those little baggies, it's like $9, you know, for this tiny little bag. So I buy it like by the half pound or whatever. You can get it at Costco, you can get it on Amazon. I did have a link on my blog of where to get it on Amazon, but I don't know, it might not be good anymore. But I freeze them.
Okay.
So I buy the big container here. I'll show you.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
freeze them and they last a really, really long time in the freezer. In fact, you can freeze any nuts that you have. Nuts that are in your pantry are going to go rancid. You
Mhm.
can only keep them there for maybe, I don't know, 6 months. And after that, they go rancid. So, I mean, not always, but a lot of the time. So I freeze my nuts. I leave out the, you know, what I'm going to use, but I'll sprinkle these frozen pine nuts on a salad from my freezer, and they'll defrost instantly
Right.
because they're little. So it's a good way to, you know, I love pine nuts and I don't want to give them up, but I also don't want to break the bank. So
Right. I agree. I agree. Thank you. This was very good.
no, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Really enjoyed it.
It looks delicious.
I know.
We want to come over and eat it.
Yeah. Oh, come on down. It is Poolsville.
I was going to say, are you inviting us all over?
I just also wanted to point out all of the great blog posts that Hillary's been mentioning. I've been trying to link in the chat. So there's a link to Hillary's blog in the chat, as well as her blog post on garlic scapes. So be sure to click some of those links and check out her blog, because it's fantastic. And the pictures are just amazing as well. You can definitely tell she's a very talented photographer. So be sure to check out her blog as well.
Oh, another thing that I forgot to mention is this lovely apron has a photo that I took on it, and it says, "This chef is hot," and it is a great holiday gift for someone you know that loves to cook.
Especially a gardener who loves to cook.
Exactly.
I love it.
Exactly.
I have a question about your cool oil pitcher. Does that change anything about the oil? I've heard that certain olive oil containers can help like aerate it, or that it shouldn't be kept a certain way. So I'm curious to hear more about it.
That's interesting. Well, oils do degrade with light. And so this is a can, so no light is getting in here. So I buy the big extra virgin olive oil from Costco, and then I just refill this as it gets empty. This has meaning to me because I bought this on my trip to Italy. I bought it when I was in Florence. And so it gives me good memories, you know, when I look at it. But it also, it makes a mess. It dribbles a little bit. So it's not the best ergonomic thing. I just thought it was cute. So yeah, I got one from my sister, and she said that she doesn't want to use it because it's messy. But I just keep it on a plate. So if it drips a little bit, you know, you got it on the plate. But yeah, I mean, I just think it's easier. I use a lot of olive oil. So I like to leave it out, and you don't want to leave it out in any kind of clear container because it'll degrade very quickly.
Oh, that's interesting.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
So suggest for us extra virgin versus light versus plain old olive oil or extra virgin? Like, do you have any recommendations as far as that goes?
I have not done a taste test between all of them, so I don't really know the difference.
Yeah.
What I can say is that when I was in Italy, I went to a place where they press their own olives and make their own olive oil, and I bought this big thing and had it shipped from Italy home, and I was using it and I was starting to run out, so I was like, oh, I wonder, I'm going to do a taste test. So I got the thing from Costco, the extra virgin from Costco, and I did a blind taste test, and I actually like the extra virgin from Costco better than this olive oil that I spent God's money on shipping across
Oh my
the
word.
ocean. So
Good to know. Note to self.
there's so many different ones, and it's almost like wine tasting. When I went to the place where they press the olive oil, this is the first press and this is the time, there's you have to have like a really refined palate.
Mm-hmm. To be able
So, just like balsamic vinegar or wine. People that are really into this stuff, they know all the difference. Unfortunately, I'm not like an olive oil snob, so I just don't know.
Okay. Thank you.
But we could do an olive oil tasting.
Sure.
My poor friend that was traveling with me, she has celiac, so she couldn't taste the olive oil on the bread, because how do you taste the olive oil, right? So they gave her like a little spoon, but it's not the same thing.
Right.
Because nobody eats, it's not like you eat honey, eat honey off a spoon, but you're not going to eat olive oil off a spoon. At least I don't.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So a wine tasting in Italy would be better.
Yes. That wine, the wine that I had shipped home, that was good wine.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I have a question that might be a little bit tricky, but I just wanted to see if you might have a little bit of insight. So I love trying vegan alternatives. I'm not really fully vegan, but I'm interested in trying them. But I'm actually allergic to nuts. So do you think that there's a replacement in pesto for cashew nuts? I know I've had pestos just without pine nuts before, but if you were to try to make a vegan pesto without nuts, do you think there's something that could be substituted?
Well, I probably, wouldn't be like a pesto. It might be more have you ever heard of gremolata?
No, I haven't.
Gremolata. It's an Italian sauce that's made with parsley and olive oil. And I forget what else was in it, but you can use it just like you would a pesto.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So nuts are not on a vegan diet?
No, they
She's
are.
allergic to nuts.
Oh, you're allergic. Okay. I missed that part. I was thinking vegan and I was like, wait, I'm confused. Okay.
Yeah. The other thing is, they make vegan cheeses. I just don't. Oh, another thing that I've heard people use that are vegan is nutritional yeast. Apparently that tastes a little bit like Parmesan cheese.
I have heard that. I've tried vegan meatballs that had nutritional yeast on it. It wasn't exactly the same, but it certainly had a similar taste if you had an open mind about it.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not vegan. I'll take my vegan pesto and put a little Parmesan cheese on top, which defeats the purpose, but not for the people that, other people in my life that can't eat the cheese. So.
Do we have any more questions? Feel free to either unmute or send them in the chat.
When is eggplant season over?
I think probably soon. Because, the nights are getting colder. And so the plant growth is really slowing down. So I would say if you already have some little baby eggplants on your plants, you might get some, but I mean, that plant that I showed you, it has flowered, since I saved it from all the bugs. It has flowered for the last month, yet I have not seen an eggplant. So I don't think I'm going to see any eggplants from that plant this year, unfortunately. We'll see how it does inside. But also the problem with being inside is that there's no pollinators. So
Do you have any recommendations as to like local places that might sell eggplant produce?
oh yeah, you can get it at Homestead Farms, you can get it at Lewis's, Butler's Orchard. And Farm at Home, I'm not sure what they have right now. They used to only do blueberries, but now they're growing a whole bunch of vegetables and they're doing like a pumpkin patch.
Oh,
Those
cool.
are
I
all
didn't know
local.
that.
Do you know where that is? It's on Partnership.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, if we have any later questions, as always, everyone, you can email info@poolsvilleseniors.org and we can pass them on to Hillary for you. Like I mentioned, make sure to check out her blog. The link is in the chat, and we'll also have the link to her blog in our recap when we post that on our blog. If you'd like to unmute or turn on your camera to say goodbye, now is the time. And if you're joining us on Facebook Live, please leave a like and a comment. We'd like to thank Hillary for this presentation, as well as our ongoing sponsors and private contributors that help us keep our programs going, because we love putting them on for you. If you enjoyed tonight's program, please consider joining us for more upcoming events. This time next week, we'll be back with Candid Vaccine Conversations and Dr. Stuart LaGrace. You can go to our website at poolsvilleseniors.org for more info and registration. And thank you all so much for joining us tonight. I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Bye, Hillary.
Hillary.